Hey, welcome in. This is the Steve Gill Show, the Biz Buzz, where each week we try to give you some tips and advice on, well, greater personal success, business success. And one of the things that we're increasingly seeing is, I guess, one would be kind of retro, going back to the businesses that have great brands, have great branding. We also see that while mass-produced products do well, there's also a desire that people have for that unique piece, whether it's a unique cigar, a unique beer, maybe a local brewed beer, a more non-traditional, I guess, for lack of a better word, whiskey that's not as broadly distributed. A lot of desire for something a little more unique, a little better, and in some cases a little bit more expensive. And we thought we'd talk to a group today that have come together with, I guess, a refurbished old business, Nelson's Brier Distillery. Andy and Charles Nelson with us. They went back and have gotten their family business back in business that went down during Prohibition, 100-year hiatus, but you guys are putting the business back in business, and the whiskey, bidness, B-I-D-N-E-S-S, as we would say, as opposed to business. Andy Charles Nelson in with us. This is an amazing story, guys, and it really is about that unique product as well as kind of going back and tying back into family history.
Yeah, I mean, without the history and the story to it, we really wouldn't have gotten into the business, and it's really the story and history that captivated us and really made us fall in love and want to get into it.
Give us the nutshell, Charles, of how you guys got into the whiskey business, because neither of y'all were in the distillery business. Your family business was more tech and education, and yet here you are in the whiskey business. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's kind of a long story, but basically our great-great-great-grandfather, Charles Nelson, he produced the original Tennessee whiskey before Jack Daniels, and he also was one of the first.
You had to throw that in, didn't you?
Yeah. His distillery
We were whiskey before there was whiskey.
He was also one of the first to bottle and sell whiskey rather than selling by the barrel or the jug. His distillery shut down because of Prohibition, statewide Prohibition in 1909. And about 6 years ago, Andy and I and our father went to Greenbrier, Tennessee to buy a bunch of meat from a butcher. And just so happened that butcher lived on part of the land where the original distillery was. So we asked him if he knew anything about it, and he sort of laughed and said, yeah, look across the street. And so we did, saw an old barrel warehouse still standing, the original spring still running, and we drank from the spring, and of course it was the crispest, coolest, cleanest, freshest, purest water you've never tasted. But then he sent us to the Greenbrier Historical Society, and there were 2 bottles of the original Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey with our name, the Nelson name on it, and we just fell in love right then and there and knew that this is what we had to do.
Andy, how did it go from this is a really cool family story to let's get in the whiskey business?
Well, like he just said, it was just kind of, just a spur-of-the-moment type thing. We just saw that, and it was just this magic moment that's like, okay, well, we know what we're doing now. I mean, to be honest with you, it wasn't like, well, maybe this would be good, maybe it would be bad for this reason. It was all, we were all in from moment one. And so, that was 6 years ago, and we just released our first product on the shelves about 3.5 months ago. So that'll give you some idea of the difficulty and time frame of what it can take to put something quality out there. But we knew from right then and there that we were going to do it and not give up. And we haven't.
A lot of entrepreneurs have an idea, but they look and say, okay, the big boys are already in this field. And you've got, as you mentioned, Jack Daniels, you've got Jim Beam, you've got the big mega giants of the industry. What made you believe, Charlie, that you guys could carve a niche? And you've got in Kentucky all these kind of the whiskey trail,
sure,
where you've got Buffalo Trace, you've got other smaller brand whiskeys that are now on the market. What made you think you could compete in that big field, and how do you?
Yeah, sure. Well, what we have is a true, authentic story that I think that the whiskey business it's all about history and heritage and wood and barrels. And, what we have, it's our great-great-great-grandfather truly lived the American dream. And it really resonates with people, I believe. If it can inspire me to totally change my life and path and totally devote myself 150% to this, I think that at least one or two people might feel a tenth of that, you know.
And that's, I think, a lesson for a lot of people that are going into business, entrepreneurs or otherwise. You got to have that passion for what you're doing. I tell young students when I speak all the time, figure out what you love, figure out what you have a passion for, and then find somebody stupid enough to pay you to do that.
Yeah.
And then you'll be successful. If you do something you hate, you might make some money, but you will never be successful. If you do something you love, you'll find a way to be successful at it.
Right.
And that's what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's not about the money for us, you know. It's about the passion and just the love for, you know, the pride and just, you know, restoring our family heritage and just doing something that we believe in.
Yeah. Now, it's a little bit different than the original product. It's Belle Meade Bourbon, which ties into the Nashville area. A little bit different than what your great granddaddy was putting out. How did you come up with Belle Meade Bourbon, and where can people get it? Where should they be looking for it? Is it going to be, you know, you got to order? Can you go into a bar and say, I'm looking for this?
Well, historically, the tie to Belle Meade Bourbon is this is an actual brand that was sold before Prohibition, that Charles Nelson, like Charlie said, was one of the first to bottle and sell whiskey, and this was a brand that he did that with. And so this is, we had a price list of a bunch of brands that he sold, and this was one of them. We figured, well, you know, this is perfect to start out with. It's got that name recognition and everything like that. So as far as buying it, we're in about 110 bars and restaurants around Nashville, probably about 40 liquor stores, Nashville, Davidson County, Williamson County, Rutherford, and then we just got into Knoxville. We're, you know, about to expand into, well, we're in Georgia now. We're about to expand into Alabama, Maryland, and D.C. So
that exclusivity is something to market. I mean, when I think back when I was in college, you know, you couldn't get Coors beer east of the Mississippi, so everybody wanted Coors beer. I mean, not to be mean to Coors, it ain't that good, but it was good because you couldn't get it.
Right.
And part of that exclusivity may also help you kind of boost your brand as well.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't have, you know, we have nowhere near the capacity that the big guys have. You know, we're just a very small brand, and we have a higher end product, and you know, not everybody. It's not going to fit into everybody's sort of profile, but like Andy said, this was a brand that was originally produced by Charles Nelson.
Cool.
And you know, this is pretty much the original label. One of the only tweaks that we made to the label was taking, there are two horses on there, and the original label had the names of the horses.
We'll take some pictures and put this all up on Facebook so folks can see it. I love the hat, the bottle. We'll get some pictures and put them up on Facebook so people can see what they're hearing as well and get a little glimpse of it. And again, go to their website, greenbrierdistillery.com. We'll put up some links on the website on Facebook as well so you can find a little bit more. I love the history. I love the story and wish you guys the greatest success. The difference in Jack Daniel's and Greenbrier Distillery, when they have the Greenbrier Distillery barbecue, it's Andy and Charles on the grill. I mean, it literally is that's the Greenbrier Distillery barbecue. Not as big as the Jack Daniel's one yet.
But better.
We're back in a moment because you're washing it down with Belle Meade bourbon. We're back in a moment. This is the Steve Gill Show.
Thanks for having us on.